All right, guys, this is Mr. Rodriguez. So I try to do these for the reviews for all our tests. Those of you who didn't get through everything in class or didn't see everything, you have a chance to kind of go back over this at your own pace. All right, so please, hope this is helpful. So this, first of all, is the answer key to the review we had. It was only 6 questions. Your test is 10 questions, but they're a lot similar. They're just, a lot of distributing, a lot of combining like terms to get to your answer. So I'll kind of go through these one by one here. We start with number 1. You have 10x minus parentheses 2x plus 8 equals 2x plus 1 plus 8. So we always start with distributing, right, if there's parentheses. Now right here, right, that negative, you need to pretend like that's a -1 in front of there, and that's what you distribute. -1 times 2x, -1 times 8. So the 10x does not get distributed. So you'll see in the next line, 10x minus 2x, because that's -1 times 2, minus 8. On the right side of the line, you have your line here. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is 2. And then you have a plus 8 over there. Now, we're combining like terms on each side of the line. So on this side of the line, on the left side, you have a 10x and a minus 2x. Okay, that combines. 10x minus 2x is 8x. The minus 8 just comes down. We haven't used it. On the right, you have 2x plus 2 plus 8. No reason not to combine the 2 and 8. That's just 10, right? That's where you get that. Next line, you have, let me see, can I do, sorry, so that's the first line. Here's our second line. We have variables on both sides. We need to cancel one out. You need all variables on one side. The reason you want to cancel it out, because if over here we have a 2x and we subtract the 2x, we know that cancels to 0. We also know what you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So 8x minus 2x gives you 6x. That minus 8 is still coming down. This is the next line. That 0, you still have a 10 there. Now, minus 8, cancel it out with the plus 8, right? You do that there. Plus 8 there. 6x is now all by itself because you canceled out the minus 8 and the 8. 18 divided by 6. I'm sorry, let's step back a second. 6x is by itself. 10 plus 8 give you 18. Your last step would be to divide by what's in front of x. 6 divided by 6 cancels out to 1. 18 divided by 6 is 3, and there's your answer. Okay, a lot of steps, but just go through them patiently. They're not that difficult. Second one, number 2. Draw your line right there. Lots of distributing. 4 times 2x, 4 times minus 3. Right? 4 times 2 is 8x. 4 times minus 3 is -12. This 2 here, you distribute it with the minus. -2 times x is -2x. -2 and a minus 4 makes it plus, right? Because negative and negative is positive. On the right side, the 10 stays here. The 3 distributes, that's 3x. 3 times 6 is 18. So now combine like terms. On the left side, you have a -8x and a 8x and a -2x. 8x minus 2x will subtract, combine to give you 6. -12, the minus uses a negative, plus 8. -12 plus 8 is where we get minus 4. It's minus because the 12 is negative and that's bigger. On this side, the 10 and the 18 are numbers. They combine to give you the 28. The 3x just comes down. Variables on both sides now. Right? You want to cancel out the 3x because it's smaller. That cancels out. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. 6x minus 3x is 3x. Bring down the minus 4, and you have 28 over here. Now I'm going to move over here. To get rid of minus 4, you add 4. All right, this is the next line. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. That cancels and leaves you with 3x. 28 and 4 is 32. Last step, divide by the 3. That cancels to 1x. 32 divided by 3. It's a decimal, and that's fine. Not every answer is going to be a whole number. Sorry. So the 3 divides by 3, and you get x, and 32 divided by 3. If it's multiple choice, check your answer choices, see if it's positive or negative, see if it's fraction, see if it's decimal. You know, you don't know. Last one. It's possible to have fractions and decimals in the problem. Use them. If you're more comfortable with decimals, divide into the decimal. Like this example, I turned 1/4 into 0.25. If you're okay using 1/4, that's fine. You know, whatever's easier for you. When you multiply that, 0.25 times 16 is 4. 0.25 times 24 is 6, and we put that negative down from the middle. Over here, this is a 0.5. 0.5 times 10 is 5x. Not 5 times 10, 0.5 times 10. That's cutting it in half. 0.5 times 42 is 21. So you have 4x minus 6 over here, 5x plus 21 over here. Variables on both sides, so even though we're going to move it over to the right, I'm going to subtract 4x because it's smaller. You subtract 4x from both sides. This cancels, and this leaves you with the 1x. So over here, all you have is a negative 6 left, and that's fine. Because the x is on the right, we want to cancel out the 21. So minus 21 here, minus 21 here. That cancels, and negative 6 minus 21 is negative 27. So that wasn't as hard as the first two, but we also want to make sure that we know how to put that into the griddable. If you have a negative, you do have to bubble in the negative sign right there. Move it over. You do have to bubble in the negative there. And then it doesn't matter whether you put the 27 here. It doesn't matter if you put 27 here. Wherever you put it, though, I would stay consistent with it and make sure you bubble. Because in the end, all it reads is the bubble. If you write the right answer but you don't bubble, it doesn't matter. Okay, so make sure you bubble correctly. All right, that's page 1. We're going to continue on to page 2 here in just a second. Number 4, what is the solution set? So now these are inequalities, right? The test is not going to specifically be lined up for you to have just all the equations and all the inequalities. You got to pay attention whether or not, you know, there's an equal sign or there's an inequality, okay? So on the inequalities, it's still the same process. You just got to be aware of where the sign ends up in the end. So no parentheses here. We just got variables on both sides. 4x is smaller, so I went ahead and subtracted 4x here. That cancels. You're left with 18. 6x minus 4x is 2x. All right, and then the plus 28 comes down at first. Next line, to get x by itself, you subtract 28. All right, so we subtract 28 there, subtract 28 there, 28. That cancels out. 18 minus 28 is negative 10. This is 2x here. This whole time, the sign is still greater than or equal to. Now, to get x by itself, you divide by 2 to both sides. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5, greater than x. Technically the right answer, but we do want to write our inequalities with x first and the number on the right. So if you do that, because x is originally on the right and you want to flip it, this symbol has to twist and turn around. And that's why in the final answer, it's pointing left as a less than or equal to. Okay? Number 5, distribute 3x 3 times x, 3 times 7 is 21. There's a minus sign in the middle. Variables on both sides now, pretty simple. Minus 2x, minus 2x. This leaves you with 1x. This cancels to 0. Minus 21 comes down. This is still less than. This is minus 35. The minus sign, don't forget to bring it down. To get rid of 21, I wrote that weird. You have to add 21. That cancels. At no time did we multiply or divide either side by a negative. So notice this time it stays less than. We didn't do anything to change that. And x is less than negative 14. That's pretty simple. Now read last one. It's a question. A student in Mr. Rodriguez's class works out the following inequality. They got an answer of x less than or equal to negative 8. Is the student correct? So first off, it's a yes or no question. Right now, that's kind of yellow. And you see the answer there, but we'll show you why. It says show work to prove or disprove your answer. So let's take their equation. 2 times parentheses x minus 8 minus 3x less than or equal to negative 8. Okay? Start by distributing the 2. 2x, 2 times 8 is 16. There's a minus sign. This minus 3x still comes along. We haven't done anything with it yet. Now, I need to combine like terms. Okay? Negative 2x minus 3x. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So this becomes negative x minus 16. Oh, that 1 looks weird. The 6 looks weird. Try it again. Minus 16 less than or equal to. This negative 8 hasn't done anything yet. Now I want to get rid of that minus 16. So I add 16 to both sides. That cancels out. That gives me a positive 8. I have negative x less than or equal to positive 8. I can't have a negative x. To get rid of negative variables, it's divide by negative 1, because remember, we pretend there's a 1 right there. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive x. 8 divided by negative 1 is negative 8. But because we divided by negative, we have to change that to greater than or equal to. That does not match the answer. That's why it's no, and there's your work to prove it. Okay? All right, so that was a quick review. I hope that helped. This wasn't a very long video. There's 10 questions, 5 inequalities, 5 equations. But, I mean, they're all very similar. You know, you got to do distribute, combine like terms, get things to one side, right? Just follow your rules, take your time, you'll be good. All right? Good luck.